Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this is my YouTube channel Shral Thinks, where I talk about all things health anxiety related, so please do subscribe if you haven't done so already, and please give this video a thumbs up at the end if you enjoyed it. Many people have asked me why I have cut my hair. Now I cut my hair not because I wanted to, but because years and years of anxiety, I would just say the last kind of like 18 months or so, whilst I've been recovering, so it's like really, really cruel in a way, it's like a delayed response, my hair just started to get so thin that it was actually ridiculous. Like the the end of like my hair was so thin that the length was just pointless, and I hung on to it as long as I could, but unfortunately I had to take the plunge and cut it to start again. Anyway, in this video I want to talk about how to get through the day with health anxiety, and it definitely isn't a straightforward answer, and those who work with me on my coaching program will know that I'm very open and honest. Like I never want to give you this idea that it's like, oh, follow my program and you'll be cured within 6 weeks. Like it's not like that. Like I've been there. Like it's hard, and one of the biggest things in the world is having the motivation to do it. Now, when we are in a real rut with our health anxiety, motivation is a myth. Like, I remember having 18 months worth of CBT and just thinking, I know it all, I know what you're saying, and I appreciate what you're telling me, and I understand that there's things that I could be doing, but I can't do them. Like I just couldn't do them. And so when I was in my deepest, darkest moments with the health anxiety, it just felt like I was never going to get out of it, because I was like, well, I'm having therapy, I'm taking the medication, like I'm doing everything that I should be doing, yet I'm just gonna put my glasses on so I can't see, yet I'm still here, like I'm still in this awful place. Now, when you want to learn to live with your health anxiety, and I say learn to live because, again, you might think I'm a massively negative or a pessimist, but I really believe, unfortunately, that once we've developed health anxiety, that it's quite difficult to turn it off. And once we become that in tune with our bodies, and once we've researched to the extent that we have, we're never going to be able to unlearn that information. So it's hard then, because any symptom we get, our brain is a fountain of knowledge and it knows so much, but we can manage it massively. Like I've been managing my health anxiety really well now for almost 2 years, and I still have health anxiety, of course I do. There's plenty of examples of that as well. Like I scratched a mole off my face about 2 weeks ago. I thought it was a blackhead, and then when I actually looked at old photos, I've always had it, and I was like, oh gosh. I had a bit of a wobble for a couple of days, and I was like, I found myself worrying and ruminating and wanting to Google, wanting to book an appointment, but I thought, let's just leave it. You've scratched it off now, there's nothing you can do about it, whatever. But it's crazy to me how that 3 days of worry then led to another 2 weeks of intense twitching. So my anxiety and fear response can quite easily, go straight up. The twitching has stopped now, thankfully. It was driving me bonkers. But yeah, I still have health anxiety. But if when I scratched off the mole, I had Googled my symptoms, or I had, gone to A&E, or I'd gone to the doctor, would that have helped me? No, because I could have Googled and I'm going to think that I've just scratched off melanoma, or that, oh gosh, all sorts, and I'm going to give myself sepsis from scratching, all sorts of things. I would have found something to panic about. If I had booked an appointment, my doctor may say, oh, maybe we should do a biopsy on the remaining part, or anything. You just don't know what they're going to say. That could have massively triggered me, and so that ordeal could have turned into like 4 months of hell. But I didn't allow it to, because I was like, okay, I recognise this is Heather, my health anxiety, that's what I call her. This is Heather and her worries. It's not your worries, because you're a logical human being now. This is Heather trying to reel you back in. We don't listen to Heather, because Heather is very untrustworthy. She's wrong like almost all the time. She's very dramatic. She's very much a catastrophizer, so we can't really trust Heather, so I don't. So going back to kind of, I've gone off on a massive tangent there, but I guess what I'm trying to say is the way that we live with it, right, is that you throw yourself into stuff every single day. I wake up in the morning and I say to myself, what can I do today to make today great? What is it that I can do that my future self will be happy for? Is it going to meet up with a friend that I haven't seen for a while? Is it cleaning out my kitchen cupboards because it's driving me insane? Is it going out with the kids? Is it, you know, having some child number 1 is asleep in the back. Most of the times when I do these car videos, believe it or not, there's usually a sleeping child behind me in the back. She's back asleep now. I've completely lost my train of thought. This video is going to be absolutely garbage. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so it's about creating these little healthy habits, and it's also giving up the expectation of being motivated. You're not going to be motivated when you are struggling every single day. Like I said, motivation is a myth. Motivation doesn't come when we need it. So we got to forget about motivation, forget about feeling motivated. You've just got to do stuff. So you've got to make a commitment. You've got to say, I don't care if I'm not motivated. I don't care if I don't want to do this. I am going to make a commitment to get up and have a shower, go for that walk that I promised myself I was going to do, attend therapy, do my meditation, do my journaling, do my gratitude exercises, meeting up with a friend, you know, whatever it is. Like, everyone's toolbox is going to be slightly different, right? Like, some people like exercise, some people don't. Some people like journaling, some people don't. We're all different, which is why I really dislike it when people come up with these like anxiety programs that worked for them. And I'm like, okay, how do you know that's going to work for like the 100 people that are applying to join your anxiety program? Doesn't make sense to me personally. You do have an inner toolkit in there. It's buried beneath the health anxiety, and you've got to tease it out of you. You've got to try and remember, try and think about, you know, like, you've got to go really into it. Like, when I'm having a bad day, I think, like, what gives me goosebumps? Like, oh, I really love Will Smith's film, The Pursuit of Happiness. I'm going to put that on. Or I really love Stevie Wonder music. It gives me goosebumps. Let's put that on. Like, you've got to really use all of your resources, because I'm telling you now, medication and therapy alone is probably not going to do it. Or if it does, it's going to be short term. If you want to make lasting changes, it starts with you. So if you want to get through your day with health anxiety, you've got to, I was going to say motivate yourself. That's like incorrect. You've just got to make a commitment. You've got to say, I am going to do this. Now, that's hard, because when you think you're dying and you really believe you've got a terminal illness, I've been there. Like, trust me, like, I have like stayed in bed for 3 months solid. I was hospitalized. Like, I know how that feels when you believe it so much that you think, well, why should I go on a walk? Why should I journal when I'm going to be dead anyway? That's the way you're thinking, isn't it? Because we're completely tunnel vision. We literally, we're looking through this little hole, right? We can't see everything else. We cannot see it. So that's why reassurance and stuff doesn't work, because you've got somebody over here like, yeah, but if you thought it might be anxiety, or like, yeah, but your scan was, you're not hearing it. You're there. You're looking through your own lens. So it's not easy. And like I said, for me, the only way I ended up getting like committed to making change was because I was suicidal. I literally took it to the extreme, hit absolute rock bottom, didn't want to live anymore, which was like so contradictory, you know, given that I was so terrified of dying, but just goes to show how extreme it can be. And then one day I just woke up and was like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing this anymore. No way am I doing it. No way am I putting my children through it. No way am I going to see my mum's hair fall out and her having to take more time off work, and my partner, you know, just like, it just got to a point where I was like, no, enough. So I was like, right, let's just entertain the thought that this all might be health anxiety. Did I still think I was dying? Yes, I still thought I was dying. However, I still made those changes, and guess what? it paid off. So sometimes you've got to fake it till you make it. Even if you're fully convinced that you've got breast cancer and you're dying, is this really the way that you would want to spend your last couple of months, even if that were true? Probably not. So what you've got to do is you've just got to wake up, make a commitment. I am going to do X, Y, and Z today. Despite the fact that I think I'm dying, I'm still going to do this, I'm still going to do that, because what we need is to get back, or attempt to get back to some level of normality, because what health anxiety does is it just, everything was chaos. Everything stopped, like not just for me, but for like my whole family as well. Like everybody was on edge. They didn't know if I was going to go to A&E next, if I was going to ring the police next, because I was having, you know, suicidal thoughts. It was just absolute craziness for like months. And to be honest, none of us really talk about it, about that time, because it was like that bad. So I think that getting through your day it's difficult. Like obviously it's not easy for any of us, but I think it starts with baby steps. Like you've got to really start small, because it could be something as simple as like, I'm going to take that half an hour walk every single morning. And then when you feel the benefits in that, it's like, right, well, I'm going to make sure that actually I don't know, I go for a jog in the afternoon, because I know that that helps me. Or I'm going to go swimming. I'm going to make sure I turn up to therapy. I'm going to do my gratitude journal in the evening. Like you just have to really, really think about what things you like to do, what things helped you before, what are the things you enjoyed prior to the health anxiety, and you need to slowly feed that back into your life. Because what we tend to do, we become so fearful, is that we just stop. Everything stops. We don't see our friends anymore. We don't, you know, do our hobbies anymore. We don't do any of it because we think we're dying. But those little things, those small things, are the things that give us meaning and joy. And, you know, our goals and our aspirations, like they are what makes us us, and they're important. And so what ends up happening is, like, not only do we have health anxiety, but we end up depressed, because we're now stagnant. We're not doing anything. So my key advice here is like to stop waiting around for motivation. Motivation isn't going to come. You have to just make a commitment. You have to make a choice. You have to make a choice every single morning. I choose to be proactive. I choose to make the right choices today. I choose not to give in to my safety behaviors, like Googling and going to my doctors. I choose to go on that walk that I told myself I was going to go on. It's hard, but you've got to think about, without being too triggering, but like, if you carry on the path that you're going, to me, it led to a nervous breakdown, because your body and mind it can only ride that wave for so long. Eventually it's going to crash. So you've got to think about like where this anxiety is leading you and how you can halt it. And nobody says it's going to be easy. It's going to be ups and downs. You're going to have a good week followed by like 2 terrible weeks, and then you'll have like, and that happened to me for a long time. But what happens is eventually you learn to manage, and that what happens is eventually then like 80% of the time you're good, and it's only 20% of the time, and like now I'm probably at like 95% of the time I'm good, and maybe 5% of the time I have a bit of a wobble, and I'm okay with that, because I've come from being 100% not okay. So that's like a big thing for me. So stop waiting for motivation, get committed. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Find me on Instagram at Sherelle Things. I post loads and loads and loads about health anxiety. If you want to work with me on a one-to-one basis, you can do so by joining my Patreon. Unfortunately, I have no spots left in Tier 4. People on Tier 4, they have weekly coaching calls with me, but they're all gone. I cannot fit any more in, unfortunately. I have a couple of Tier 3 left, and then there's loads of Tier 0, 1 and 2. But yeah, if you have any tips for people down below, of course, pop them down in the comments, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.